Hey there, welcome to day 25 of Don't Forget Your Worth, the YouTube channel with matching podcasts titled the same. I'm Andrea, and we made it 25 days. I only have another few here. Next week, I think I'll hit, or this weekend, maybe I'll hit 30, which I'm just really shooting for. I like that little measurable idea of knowing that once I hit 30 days, all I have to do is do that 12 times and we nailed it. So I'm like, day 25 feels pretty close and pretty significant. So I was happy to get here, you guys. In that I usually will read the podcast in the morning before the showroom opens, and then after the showroom closes, I'll do the YouTube channel, right? But I'm doing it backwards today. I didn't get the podcast out yet, and I was going to start with that, but I'm like, you know what? Get this up, and because I can always do I can record the podcast at home. So, so we're giving this a shot. I'm not convinced, but I want to, give it a go, see how it goes. Because what it means, you guys, is that whereas usually with a podcast, I've read the script once before I read it to you on video, which means I can make a little bit more eye contact and get a little bit more animated with you because I know what's coming. Whereas right now, again, it's just printed straight off, and I haven't read this, and it was written years ago. It's been sitting in an armoire for about 7 years, if you will. So in that, we're just gonna give it a shot all willy-nilly and see what happens. This one is titled, More of You, Less of Me. And so it begins. We hadn't been there but even 2 minutes, having entered the Grand Hotel with swooping high ceilings, light fixtures the size of gigantic mountain boulders, hanging among wide corridors, just rushing and racing with great energy and bright light. And I saw her, sitting meek and right beautiful in a chair on my left, beautiful, lean, dark skin with bright white eyes and a raging smile. Her presence could not be denied. And the Lord, his presence is on me, and he would not be quiet about her. Not for one step would he let me walk by her. Her smile and eyes lit up right well in response to seeing mine, letting me know that the gate to come say hello was opened wide. Blessing, blessing, blessing. Gates, you open up right wide. So, where are you visiting from? I asked after introducing myself and my friend. Jamaica, she says. God brought me all the way from Jamaica for this. Do you know anybody here? I asked full will, guessing her answer. Not one, she says, all audacious. Not even one. Well, now you do, I said. Now you do. Hey, cute girl, where you headed? I asked, rounding a corner of the conference center later that day when we were somehow the only two in sight. Just wasting time, she says, with her conference bag thrown over her shoulder. Well, I'm headed for a snack. Join me? The French fries were served in the cutest galvanized bucket, all 3 pounds of them to southern overflowing, and there's a whole mess of tell me mores rolling right out of me, and I am latching right onto this southern drawl like duck to water spooky, so I have to catch myself before the whole biddy gets plumb out of control. And she tells me, and she tells me, and she tells me, all casual. But tell me more, and there it is, there it is. We talked and we teared and we said, I know, and me too. And I watched her to complete awe over what Father God had done for her, the great orchestrator of all time. Jamaica. She just kept shaking her head. She could not believe what God had orchestrated. And we worshiped and we raised them, and it would just be elbows, all rubbing elbows all weekend, just a miss of her, but in view, I knew. The Lord sees her, and he used me to the degree that only he could ever know. Days later, she is passing left, and I am passing right, and our hands hook, held high and clasped in front of our hearts. I tell her that although I keep seeing her and then missing her, it looks like she is mingling right well. And I tell her that I am dead dog tired from speaking a message today and pitching publishers, but that I didn't want her to get away without a goodbye. And she tells me, she flat tells me, mingling. Well, I would not have talked to one person here had it not been for you. I mean that. Not one word, unless they spoke to me. But you brought that out in me. You somehow brought that out in me. Let me look at you, just look at you. I want to flat memorize your spirit and your eyes so that when I talk to you next, I can remember your spirit. I told her real steady. She got it. It wasn't all weird. She got it. And we hugged, and she was off in confident stride with that bag flung over her shoulder in the classiest jeans, heels, and boots, and thin navy sweater known to man. And I watched her, all knowing that there she goes. Yes, there she goes. One more woman flat freed to change the world. One Jamaica and one person at a time. Take each great step anticipating blessing, flat looking for it. Be the blessing. It is impossible to bless out and not be blessed back. Impossible. My heart tugs all week at the glory of it all, but so sick of myself. Oh, so sick of myself. More of you, Lord. Oh, so much less of me. If I have to Facebook, tweet, pin, and Insta-wow people to gain platform, I have to ask you if any of this even pleases you at all. More of you and less of me. I need you to know with everything that you have in you that I could have never been where the Lord has already taken me in the constraints of the marriage that I was in. Impossible. That freedom alone was my best message. If I could just release my heart. God, take over the platform, never me. My friend sat there, right in my tears alongside me, 3 time zones away on a pale yellow padded bench against the massive hallway wall with conference attendees passing, coming and going. What is it? What is it? What is it? I can hardly be in a room full of that many women and not be moved, just knowing, all knowing, that there are women in there being squelched just the same. I don't want anybody to hurt like that, but I have to be strong to speak what he has done. I am out, but my story is so hard to tell because then my heart goes right back to that painful story and feels everything all over again. Jesus is going to have to be my strength to do this. Her words did not change, not one. Andrea, you can do this. You were made for this, but you need to share that heart with them. You have to let them see the way that you love. Your heart breaks for what breaks his. You have to let them see that. My heart was everything that I wanted to tuck in close to me and hide because it feels so dang deeply. Selfishly, above anything, I didn't want anybody to see me cry. I think I already told you guys about that. That's been like the greatest prayer whenever I'm delivering a message to my friends is just pray I don't cry. Like I'm not worried about the crowd. I'm not worried about, God doing his thing. I'm not worried about the words to speak, anything. I'm always scared to death of crying. I do not like that in front of a crowd like that. My confidence was changed at the sound of his voice, words that I had heard before. He didn't care if I cried. He only cared that I show up for him to speak for his glory. You will do this for me because you are mine. I only remember the introduction and the applause at the end. I remember walking the room back and forth as I spoke, walking carefully with deliberate stride and steps in classic heels. I remember looking deep into some of the women's eyes, bending close down to them to see their very spirits. I remember only but a few words, and probably never will. I had specifically requested that that particular message not be taped. More of you, less of me. As I entered a large corridor filling fast with women, a woman jumped out of the buffet line and grabbed my hand. My stride stopped as she looked right at me and she said, "You have the sweetest heart I have ever seen. Keep sharing it." I thanked her and she released the grip of my wrist and I raced on just thanking him and praising him with each step I took. I made it through it all to his glory, that the heart of Jesus would be known and glorified. Women, we are loosened and we are free. To the glory of God, I am sharing just what the Lord has brought us through and done for us, emphasis on through. We are so very blessed. We are through it. We are blessed and we are out. To the degree that you must know how it crushes me, to know that some of my readers are still sitting in their tough realities. Please know how it also crushes my Jesus, right? It crushes him. He sees you and he weeps right with you, right there. Right in your tears. And even though your tears or your struggles might be different than mine, his love and his promises never, ever change, you guys. Not ever. He is with you, working all things to your favor and good. With you, right that very there with you. I mean with you, you guys. And he will never, ever leave you nor forsake you. Not ever. Trust him. He's got this. I love you. It's good. It's a tough piece, you guys. I wasn't kind of expecting that. It's good though. It's good. It's interesting for me to find this because I remember it. Just like I say, I can't not remember. I just can't not remember. But it makes me realize too, I've never talked to that gal from Jamaica again. And I know I have her information somewhere. So it'd be kind of neat to see how her journey progressed. I'm assuming that she's out, hopefully safe and, you know, living out her spiritual journey and that sort. I can't even imagine that she wouldn't be, but or maybe it's a redemption story. I have no idea, but you know what I mean. It's just like to see that is really something. And then also just see how relational it is to still be where I sit, like with Father telling me to just be generous with these stories. And you know, I'm with my mentor, and the mentor is all about, you know, making sure that you're sharing your stories and sharing your heart and being generous and giving and this sort. But it does involve, you know, getting on different mediums, and I really don't do it any social media yet other than Facebook. And so it's like it's pressing and challenging me because I just want the presence to be on him, and yet it's me realizing that all of these mediums have been given to us at such an exciting time, because whereas, you know, our culture's silly right now. It just is. There's people that are being distracted by silly things like it's like I'm trying to find the right words and I need to just say them. Okay, there's distractions right now that are tying us up in things that just don't have real significant eternal value or worth, if you will. And so it's a gentle reminder to everybody to know that the very focus is love, and it's just loving. And that if you're engaged in something that isn't loving, or isn't words of love or words of life, if you will, it's meant to divide. Then it's meant to harm, and that comes from the adversary. It isn't what Father would want. So it's so good for me to realize that, you know, there's so much negativity out there that it's like, yeah, Andrea, absolutely use your platforms to be something positive, to be something encouraging, to gift people their worth, to gift people their worth to Christ, that sort. So I just see it differently, and I'm, you know, having to sit well with it and get more used to it and get more comfortable even with you guys. You know, I'm like, this isn't easy. I mean, it just is like, this isn't easy. It just isn't easy. But I want everybody to be sharing their miracle stories. I want everybody to, you know, be speaking to the glory of what God has done in their life. So somebody has to go first, right? Just go. I will see you guys tomorrow. We made it, day 25, and looking forward to what story, you know, gets pulled, and we'll read together tomorrow. I'll see you then. Have a great night. Take care.